Brass Unlimited magazine, and today we're going to talk about Fireball Male on the Dobro. What I just played was a pretty straightforward, simple version. What I want to talk about in relation to this song is the major pentatonic scale. Now, scales are something that we don't really always think about so much on the Dobro because it's more of an arpeggio-related instrument where we're going to a lot of times just go to a chord-shaped bar area and sort of play sliding in and out of the arpeggio, which is the notes of the chord. And if you've listened to any of the improvisation videos that myself or Tim May has done in the past on this YouTube channel, we talk a lot about how the notes of the chord are going to be your first default notes to play if you're improvising, because you really can't go wrong if you play notes of the chord. We call it the fake it till you make it stage. And with the Dobro, it's easy to go there. It's easy to know how to play notes out of the chord because you just put your bar on the position of whatever chord you're playing over, and then you can slide in and out of those chord notes, and it sounds pretty cool. You can get away with that fairly easily, but a place where you can't get away with that a lot of times is if you want to play something more melody oriented and in the lower neck position. And so you're playing a lot of open notes and you can't really close into that chord shape where the bar is. And so your next line of defense, so to speak, if you're choosing notes to improvise from, is the major pentatonic scale. Now, penta means 5, and there's 3 notes in a chord, and all 3 of those notes that are in the chord are also in the major pentatonic scale. You're just adding 2 more notes. Now, we're here in the key of G, and so the notes of a G chord are G, B, and D. And the notes you're going to add to that to make a major pentatonic scale are the A notes and E notes. So you got G, A, B, D, E. In the G scale, you're leaving out the C note and you're leaving out the F sharp note. And so you can look at it as adding 2 notes to the 3 notes of the chord or subtracting 2 notes from the 7 notes of the scale, and you have your major pentatonic scale. Now, the advantage of this is that if you play major pentatonic notes over the chord, you're going to pretty much still be safe. It's going to sound pretty consonant. It's not going to sound like you are way out there, away from the melody, because you're going to be close to the orbit of the melody, so to speak, if you just choose those notes. Now, for a 2-chord song like this, Fireball Male, I'm just going to stay with the G major pentatonic scale. If you go to a 3-chord song, you could still stay with just those notes of the G major pentatonic scale. When you go to a C chord, you'd have to hit that E because the C note is not in the major pentatonic scale. But you could still get away with playing G major pentatonic over a 1-4-5 progression in G. It won't be sound as good as if you change to the C major pentatonic scale and the D major pentatonic scale over those chords. And again, all the notes in the G major pentatonic scale, C major pentatonic scale, and D major pentatonic scale are in the scale of G, so you're never leaving the key, okay, if you stick to the major pentatonic. But what we're going to talk about today is just the simple thing where I'm going to play that whole song just selecting notes from the G major pentatonic scale, and the melody comes out of those notes, and so you're going to, even if you're not hitting the exact melody note at the exact time, you're still going to get pretty close to sound like you know what you're doing. And this is, let's say, a situation where you're called to play this song. You've never played it before, you don't really know the melody, but you can tell, well, I'm just going to stick to G major pentatonic and I'll probably be safe, and you'd be right, okay? So let's go over the scale. On the G string, you got G, A, B, right? And then we just hit our B note, our C note we skip, And so then we go to our D note, and we could just go over to that open D string, right? Or we could go G, A, and then go to our B string, and then go to our D string, right? And then we're going to have an E note, and then we're going to go all the way up to G note here. Again, we're skipping the F sharp. And then on the B string, of course, that B note's in there. The C note is not, but the D note is right there. And then, of course, going to the D string here, we got the D, E, G. So we got those two notes there, B, D, and of course you can go up to your E there too as well. Anywhere you can grab one of these 5 notes, you can, hunt them and find them out on your fingerboard. But they're fairly easy. If you play Dobro for any amount of time, these are probably notes you're very accustomed going to. Now we're not going to talk about flat notes like a B flat, which would be in the major blues scale, or going to a blues scale itself, a minor blues scale. We're not going to talk about that right now. We can talk about that in another video. But for a song like Fireball Male, you can pretty much keep major pentatonic. If you want to make it sound bluesy, you could go to like a B flat note or some of those other notes that are what we might term our blues notes. But let's just stick with major pentatonic scale today. So I played this for you one time through. I'll just play it a couple times and pick out different ones of these notes, and you can see what I'm talking about. So that was just a couple different ways. Again, you could choose randomly, kind of get the general melody outline in your head and just keep playing in and out of those notes, sliding to them, pulling off from them, using those notes as a roadmap, you could come up with about very many improvisations on a song like Fireball Male, and it'll work on a bunch of other songs if you will just target those notes of the major pentatonic scale. And again, those notes in the key of G are G, A, B, D, E, and then back to the octave G. And mess around with that a little bit and see how that works for you on Fireball Male. Again, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine. Thanks.